And this is really important for supports to be doing this. And I know it's like, I know it's a lot to ask. It's a lot of information to be gathering and stuff like that. And I don't expect you to get it all perfect. Like, I'm still working on this stuff as well. This is only something I've started, like, really, really working on in, like, the last year or so. But it's made a massive difference. Like, doing all this stuff, like, jumped me up from, like, Ancient to Divine. And then before that, thinking about matchups and things like that and where I needed to ward that got me from Legend to Ancient. So, like, that was, yeah. So, like, if you can get this stuff down, it'll be really helpful. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Mr. Rip, and this is weekly coaching number 2 for King Louis, our second student. Last week, the homework was to pay attention to what's going on in your lane and ask if there's any way you can get more out of it. And then also to be looking at things outside the lane and see if there's other things you could be doing that would be more productive, right? So basically, generally increasing our awareness overall. So, Louis, what is the MMR this week?
I'm currently at 857.
857, okay. That's a decent jump, nice jump. And then over the past, like, week, did you notice any trends or anything like that of things happening in your games?
Like a lot of the time it's going like either like really late game or just like early, if that makes sense.
It's either
like
stall
one of the two,
or it's super late. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, that sounds pretty normal actually. Okay. How did the homework feel to do? Like, what was your experience with that?
When there was like, cause I played like one or two like lanes and I tried to harass just more.
Yeah.
Like it was like semi okay, but then like I felt like sometimes like even like in the mid game still it was like kind of like weak, but we still won the lane more, if that makes sense.
Okay, so the harassing felt good. Okay.
Yeah.
Felt good. And also, what about rotating out of your lane and like finding more efficiency and stuff like that?
I did like once or twice, but then like I didn't get like I rotated like to help mid out like a few times.
Yeah.
But
okay,
like we didn't
good.
get like a kill, if that makes sense.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Did you find that it was it really difficult to be like paying attention to multiple things at once, or did you find that was like kind of natural, or what?
It was kind of okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any issues that came about from that? Like any problems you had with like trying to harass more, or like wondering like what could I rotate and go do right now, or anything like that?
I feel like when I harass more, like I feel like I need to get like more like in the trees, because like I keep like pulling creep aggro.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
So like it's like I'm like finding it a bit hard to like not take damage and also like harass sometimes, if that makes sense.
I have the same issue. I could show you a couple tricks for that. But that's, yeah, okay. And then what about for the rotating part?
I feel like it's just like trying to get my levels to rotate to like where I'm like effective.
Yep, that's the hard part.
Like,
so like feeling underleveled a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so these are all totally natural, right? Like when you start harassing more, you start taking more damage and stuff like that, and you're like, oh shit, how do I do it efficiently? And I have the same issue too, where I'm roaming a lot and I end up being really underleveled. So there's a solution for that as well, for sure. We can look at that. And then last time you wanted to look at like farming more in the mid game, like where to farm and should you be farming more and stuff like that, and also like trying to transition to more of a core. So we can look at that more this time. But did you have a replay you wanted to look at in particular?
Let me have a look at one.
What was one where you were having trouble, I guess, with these concepts?
Let's have a look at maybe like this one. 1 second. I think that was the ID.
Okay, let's have a look. Getting a lot of feedback on your mic, by the way. It's like getting stuck open.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. There, much better. Thank you. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So this was the co-op game, and you were support. All right. So, what are the? Do you have any particular questions for this game?
Like I tried to get like the Yules for the slot because he kept killing me. Like but like I think I still took like a lot of like damage at the start.
Uh-huh.
And like I was just thinking like so this game was like just like debated to get like the Yules or like a 4-staff.
Okay, for sure.
Like I wasn't like I wasn't sure which one to get. In the end I got like the Yules because like I can like maybe like stall and set up things more maybe like for the teams like I tried to.
Okay. Mark, rules, fourth staff. Anything in particular with like the lane phase that you wanted to look at, or like maybe like the mid game farming?
I don't know. I think we like lost the lane like quite like a fair bit, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay.
But like we tried to like get it back a bit, but like I don't know, it was kind of hard.
Okay. So question 2. So I guess could we have won our lane or not lost as hard? Okay. And then do you have like a thing for maybe mid game, or like maybe did you do a lot of like rotating or roaming in this one?
Not too much because like we lost quite like I was just trying to like stay alive in the lane after.
Okay,
a
so
bit.
didn't feel like you had time to. Okay. So any other questions for the mid game? It'll be like, I mean, I can look at it and just point stuff out, but it'll be
Okay.
I think it'll be better for you if you have a like a specific question you want answered, and then we can look at it. So if you can't think of one, that's okay. We can just look at like maybe farming more, because that was the question from the first week, right?
Just maybe like what should I could have done better in lane, like to like
Okay.
not like be bad in it as much, if that makes sense.
All right, that makes sense. We'll focus on that more. That's good. All right. Thank you for the follow, Michael Man. What's up, dude? Let's look at this replay. And real quick, pause this, and I want to look at how the scoreboard went. So you were laning with Earthshaker versus Slark, Witch Doctor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is again always something we do. So we have a look. So how bad was it? Sometimes it feels worse than it actually is, and sometimes it's actually better than
I
you
think
thought
it was pretty.
was.
I felt like it was pretty bad.
Okay. So it looks like Earthshaker was doing okay for a while. And then, yeah, it's pretty bad. Because at this point, Witch Doctor is ahead of the Earthshaker. So that's like kind of super, super bad. And then in levels, Earthshaker actually, you gave him a lot of XP. So that's not so bad. And then let's also look at real quick, like kind of your damage and all your stats and stuff like that. So obviously a lot of deaths. So that could be something to look at. A lot of denies though. That's good. Damage is low. So is Quappa a hero you play a lot? I think you mentioned that was one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. And like almost no sentries or anything purchased, so you are a little bit neglecting that. So we'll look at that a little bit. So that's just in general. So if you're playing like 4, you don't need to be doing it as much as the 5, but like the more you can do it, the better. You know what I mean? You want to be doing it like at least like maybe half as much as they are, something like that. It doesn't have to be literally wards. It can be smokes and dust and stuff like that. But you need to help out with that kind of stuff too. So make sure you're not neglecting that. But let's focus on the lane here. Skip ahead again. All right. And so right away, minor thing, try and get with your team early. Like the quicker you can get out of base, that's gonna actually bring you a lot of benefits, by the way. It helps with like warding camps, fighting for runes, doing these smoke plays and stuff like that. Did you have an idea walking into the lane, like, of which heroes you'd be fighting against?
I thought it'd either be Undying, Slark, or like Witch Doctor Slark. I didn't think Skywrath would be like the 5.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay. Alright. Big clown fight over the rune. Very good. So obviously this first one, this first death is really easily avoidable. Just when you're walking up here, make sure you're keeping your camera on yourself whenever you're walking up, because it's super likely, like, just because your team has made it down this far, don't assume the enemy team is like, they know that. I mean, your team is literally smoked right now. They have no idea, right? So there's kind of no reason to assume there would be 5 heroes in this area.
Yeah.
So just kind of, this is kind of a general rule when you're walking up a high ground, make sure you have your camera like on yourself. Because this is, especially on the runes, you're super likely to run into someone here, sitting here watching the rune, right? So
Yeah.
this has got to be focused on yourself right here. So, minor thing, but that does lead to a death, which is bad because it's on the 2. Skywrath gets the kill, but you know, it's like it could have gone to either of these guys, and that would have made your lane really hard.
Yeah.
Okay. I would also just be really careful about doing these level 1 rune plays in general. And actually, there's 2 really good reasons to be super careful about it. 3, actually. There's 3 super good reasons to be super careful about fighting over runes. And that's A, they have Slark. Slark has super high night vision. So he can just sit here and he can see everything, right?
Oh, okay.
So I'll show you it from their perspective real quick. I know this is not strictly lane stuff. Let's try and get a look at Slark's night vision radius. Where's our little Slark here?
Wondering, it's in the bag.
So you can see kind of how far Witch Doctor can see. It's not very good, right? Like they kind of really can't see past like the tower. He only gets about this much. And look at like when the Slark gets up here, how much he can see. He can see all the way to the other side. It's crazy high night vision. So invading Slark on the runes is super dangerous because it's always going to be nighttime, and he will definitely, like, especially if you're not smoked, he will see you before you see him. And even if you are smoked, your smoke will break and he'll see you before you see him as well. So you just have to be really careful about invading a Slark. The other 2 reasons are Undying can Tombstone level 1, which is really hard to fight into. And you've got Venomancer who can get like a huge slow dot on everybody. So these are like 3 really good level 1 heroes.
Okay.
PL is extraordinarily weak early. Clinks is not that good. Earthshaker is only good if he gets Fissure, which ruins his lane phase. CM is fine, and you're okay. You're okay at getting kills. You're kind of like the Venomancer, but single target. So it doesn't look like this is your decision to do this, but the whole idea of coming here in the first place is like super Vega. Like, we just don't want to do this. This is silly. We defend and we just try and get 2 runes. Anyway, let's focus on the rune now, or the lane now. So, I think your idea about it being Witch Doctor Slark does make a lot of sense here.
Yeah.
One thing to be thinking about, when you show up to the lane, you have these wards, right? We haven't placed them yet.
Yeah.
So let's back it up to when you arrive here. So you do want to kind of try and get these, either decide what you're going to do with these wards immediately, or like get them down right away. You might decide immediately you don't need them, so you don't need to place them right now. But maybe you will need it later. Like, I'm going to need this when I need to deward the camp or something like that. But in this type of a lane, what I would say is like, okay, I've got an Earthshaker who's skilled Enchant Totem level, or Aftershock level 1. So he literally has no spells. But even if he did, he's an Earthshaker. He's super weak at laning. Okay? Slark and Witch Doctor are both very good laners. So you should be expecting to lose trades here because your core is so weak. And what that means to me is we need to make sure that their camp is blocked, because they're going to be beating our ass, which means they're going to be pushing the wave a lot more than us, and they'll get to do pulls on us. So your 2 objectives here coming into this lane are to like you're basically playing this defensive. We're not going to look for kills. We're looking to make sure Earthshaker like doesn't die. Basically,
Okay.
This is a don't feed lane, like Slark Witch Doctor versus Quap Earthshaker. This is a like total defensive lane. So what you want to do is you want to keep the Witch Doctor away from Earthshaker as much as possible. You want to make sure Slark's not getting free kills. He's not hitting you for free. You want to make sure they don't get any pulls off, and you also want to make sure that you can pull if you need to. Especially because Slark is kind of a rundown hero. He doesn't burst you. Like, he kills you by, like, hitting you over and over and over again, especially as you're running away, right? So the more distance he has to chase you, the more dangerous he is. That's why we need to make sure we can pull this camp. So you got to make sure Witch Doctor doesn't block this, and ideally you try and block this one too.
Okay.
And so that's all of those things factoring in. Like, that's what you need to be thinking about, if possible, when you're coming into the lane, and that will inform how you're going to use your wards. So what I would do here is I would be more worried about securing my own pulls, and I would also try and check the items. So if I've had a chance, especially after that big team fight, level 1, right? You get to look at everybody's items because you've seen everybody. So you can say, oh, Witch Doctor has a sentry? Okay, that means I'm going to hold my sentry to unblock my own camp. If he didn't have a sentry at all, then I would opt to just block his, right?
Yeah.
And then the ward, I'm also going to place that probably just on the hill here or right here, because my idea about how I'm going to play the lane is I'm going to be sitting on the sides. I'm either going to have to sit over here, I'm going to have to sit over here. I don't want to be standing on top of the Earthshaker, because I want to be trying to pull Witch Doctor around, you know?
Okay.
And if you're ever over here on the right, and Witch Doctor ends up on the left, this is where you want to ward so that Earthshaker can see the Witch Doctor and you can see the Witch Doctor, you can see what's going on, right?
Okay.
Is that all making sense?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Alright, let's see here. Also, again, I can't see it, but make sure you are checking items. That's going to be a big advantage. Because if you get this kind of information, like, oh, Witch Doctor has a sentry, or, oh, hey, maybe, you know, Slark has no regen left, I can harass him a lot, you know, something like that. Like, this is perfect. And you also need to be thinking a little bit about how well each team clears stacks. So, if you were to stack your own hard camp, and both teams try to just kill the hard camp, how quickly can they do that? So I would say later on, Earthshaker and you have a little bit more AoE than Witch Doctor and Slark do, because Slark needs a lot of levels in Dark Pact to do that. You need some levels in Scream of Pain, and Earthshaker needs Fissure and Aftershock levels. So it'll be a while before either of you can very efficiently clear this. Like, calling back to the Juggernaut as our example from before, Juggernaut's really good at clearing camps because he can just level 1 spin, right? So stacking against a Juggernaut is potentially bad because he can run up and just kill the camp. In this instance, they can't kill it that quickly, so you should feel safe to like walk over here and make this stack, and then you can use that to like fix creep equilibrium and like deny the Slark some XP.
Okay.
Yep. I would also, even though they don't cast a ton of spells here, I would be thinking about a wand in this lane, because it helps a lot against Maledict, having that like burst heal to offset that.
Okay.
Okay, you're chasing him for the rune. Okay, nice, nice. Did we die for it though? Ah. So, I like that you're chasing for it, but you have to be careful and you have to be paying attention, right? So when you come over here like this, because this type of stuff seems minor, but it's actually, it ends up being really bad. So Slark is chasing away, and if the Earthshaker didn't say anything, you kind of need to be paying attention to like when he disappears from your radar.
Okay.
This is a lot of stuff to be thinking about at once, right? But if you're over here focusing now, so you look at the mini-map and you see like, you actually do. You see Slark moving a little bit. And as soon as you see Slark running like this, you need to like try as hard as you can to like not die to Slark.
Yeah.
So you need to kite to the left and like try and get yourself killed to the Witch Doctor instead of the Slark.
I was trying to like deny myself with the creep camp.
Yeah, I like the idea. It's just tough because Slark's heading in the same direction. So in order to
Yeah.
move to that camp, you have to move closer to Slark. So you'd be
Yeah.
better off chasing this way. And even if you can't deny yourself, making Slark run all the way over here to kill you is like a lot of miscreeps, right? And a lot of space for your Earthshaker. So I don't even think this
Oh.
death is actually that bad, purely because it's like you're fighting the Witch Doctor on the side. Like, if Slark doesn't chase over here, it's just a 1v1, which is fine, right?
Yeah.
But he does, so hopefully, you just don't want to die to him, that's all. Because that's a big deal. Like, kills on Slark really, really matter because of how his Essence Shift works. Because basically, like, if he kills you when he's nearby, he, like, permanently steals the Agi instead of just temporarily stealing it. Right?
Yeah.
So the more deaths you feed to Slark, the worse it gets. And that's really the only way this hero functions is by, like, snowballing in your face, right? So this would be a great opportunity to stack right here. So make sure, I like that you're blocking that one. But you can do this after. So like stack this first, then come over here and go ahead and do that. And then also place this observer ward like pretty soon. I could be sitting on this for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Is any of this like helping at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, risky. Okay. Yeah, I would say kind of fundamentally the issue here is that you're trying to play very aggressive in a lane where you just can't do that.
Okay.
Like they're the aggressors, you guys have to defend. It's unfortunate, but that's like what happens when you have an Earthshaker 3. He's just not that good in lane. So when you make plays like this, even though it does result in a kill, back it up way back here. So right now we're chilling. Okay, we got Maledict on us. This means not fighting. Okay.
Okay.
Because any damage they do to you is going to be amplified by the Maledict. So you need to reset for this. You need to regen a little bit. This is fine. This is low committal. That move is like huge, like commit. Because once you blink in, all he has to do is like just pounce you. You know, if you're keeping track of his pounce cooldown, that's fine. But like, he could just kill you right here. Because you don't have blink for 11, and he's got pounce in 4, right? So this is potentially like you're trading a support kill for a Slark kill. And the other problem with it is that like if you die here, then Earthshaker doesn't have your harass to help him out.
Okay.
Because remember, this lane is not about getting the kills on them. This lane is about just securing the Earthshaker. We just need to get him to like his arcane boots, his blink, whatever the hell item he's going for, so that we don't have to worry about him anymore and we can get the hell out of this lane. Because in lanes like this where they're super unfavored, our goal should be to like get out of them as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Is that making sense? Because they're not really winnable in the conventional sense. You win these lanes by not feeding in them and getting more levels than you're supposed to. So this lane matchup would be one where I'd really want to see like a lot of stacks and pulls, a lot of mobility, you know, very like safe play, defensive aggro, stuff like that. Harass where you can, but we're not really aiming to get kills unless the enemy makes a mistake. Okay?
Yeah.
And then here's another important thing that's going to help you out a lot. We'll pause right here, and we're going to go to your player view. So every time you die, I want to see like how much information you're gathering while you're dead, okay?
Okay.
So we're just on your player view right now. So this is your chance right now, while you don't have anything else to be worried about, to be looking at top lane, looking at mid lane, checking stuff out, right? Because in this time you're dead, and even the time that you're returning to lane, like whether you're going to TP or you're going to walk or whatever, this whole time, we could be... I'm going to pay attention to, like, while you're dead. Okay, you're dead. Boom. So, right away, you can look here. You can be like, oh, Skywrath has 3 null talismans. You know? Clinks is getting railed in mid. He's a level down. He has no health left. And this guy's getting away with 3 null talismans. So, okay, mid is losing. Great. How's this lane going? Okay, PL's level 4. They're level 4. This looks pretty even, but they are pushed up. But it looks like they're fine. They don't look like they need my help right now. But I might need to help mid soon, or I might need to gank this Skywrath, right? And then also just checking, like being like, okay, Slark, how much mana does he have left? Does he have any regen left? How about this Witch Doctor? He's still got wards. So maybe, you know, given that the Slark's low on regen, maybe I can just come back here and like try and kill this Slark right away or something like that. But my Earthshaker is super low. He doesn't look like he's going to be able to help me. So I'd have to be trying to solo kill a Slark, which is not really going to work, right?
Yeah.
And another thing, this is kind of a Slark particular matchup question, is that your Shadow Strike is dispellable, so he can just break it off with Dark Pact whenever he wants to.
Yeah.
So this would also be a lane where I would get maybe 1 point in Shadow Strike just to kind of harass the Witch Doctor, or maybe force him to Dark Pact earlier than he wants to. And then I'd be focusing more on Scream of Pain, just for the straight damage. You can't dispel 300 magic damage, right?
Okay.
Another reason to do that build, like instead of maxing Q, we're going to max E, is that we're expecting to lose this lane. And so by getting extra wave clear, that means I'm going to be able to pick up more farm after the lane. Especially because also we're thinking, all right, Earthshaker doesn't really want to lane here because he's not favored, right? So he might have to start jungling, which means I might get this lane to myself, which means then I get to farm it quicker, basically. Because Shadow Strike is for kills, right?
Oh, yeah.
Scream of Pain is for kills, but also for farming and wave clear. So it's more dual purpose. It's going to help you out more to max this in this situation. Now, if this was like, I don't know, if you were playing against like, say, you know, like Undying and who'd be a good one? Like a Troll or a Sven or an Ursa or something like that. Kind of these not super mobile melee heroes, then getting a lot of points in Shadow Strike to just harass the crap out of them could be really good. But specifically Slark doesn't work that well.
Okay.
This is assuming that Slark knows how to play his hero. I'm not going to be like, well, he's Guardian, so maybe he doesn't know he can dispel it. Like, we're just going to, you know, play as if this Slark knows what he's doing, right? So... that's a lot. We're at 27 minutes already. I hope this isn't overwhelming. I know this is like a ton of different stuff to be thinking about.
No, I get it.
Okay, for sure. And the urn purchase plays into that as well, right? Because this is an item that says, like, we're going to be winning. I'm going to get lots of charges on Urn of Shadows, right?
Yeah.
So, given the state of this lane, like, do you feel like you're going to get a lot of kills here?
Not particularly right now, but I thought like if I was to get like a vessel later on, or like it could work against Slock to like and his heal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'd have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure he can just dispel that too.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I like the idea though. I really like the idea of being like this guy, you know, works off of healing, but again, specifically Slark, I'd have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure you can dispel it. But even so, kind of the issue with relying on that to beat a Slark is that if he ults, let's say he's fighting you and he ultimates, right? You can't target him with Spirit Vessel anymore while he's healing. So, and his regen is like super high. So it like even if he couldn't dispel it, like it's still like not a super effective item against him. What I would be itemizing for instead here is I definitely prioritize my wand, because we're playing defensive, Witch Doctor's going to cast a lot of spells, it helps out a lot against that, and I'd also be prioritizing my boots, because even though I have Blink, and that helps me and all that stuff, I need to be keeping my distance from this Slark as much as possible. I need to kite the crap out of him, right, so he can't reach me and hit me. Also, Wand is just going to help out a lot this game anyway, because they've got an Undying and a Skywrath. They have a lot of heroes that spam spells, so like this game is definitely like wand boots first items.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. And then from there, deciding like what boots you need, like if you're gonna go tranquils or arcanes or whatever, that's a little bit like doesn't really matter so much. It's more just like recognizing you're going for an offensive item in a lane where you're sort of supposed to be super defensive, which
Okay.
doesn't feel good because you picked Quap. You know, you want to be offensive, but it's kind of just the reality of how this is going and the fact that you have an Earthshaker. Earthshaker just ain't gonna play that offensive. Dodge there. I remember what we were talking about last time as well. So as soon as you feel like he doesn't need you so much anymore, this would be a great opportunity to roam and give him some solo XP. Because the more levels he gets, the more independent he gets. So this could be a great time to be like, okay, can I maybe help out with the rune? Could I go grab the Lotus? We're actually in exactly the same situation as before. The timer's just a little bit different, right? Now, I'd say it's a little bit scary just because he's so low. But
Yeah.
I think if the Witch Doctor tried to chase it this far in, I think like that's kind of on the Earthshaker at that point a little bit. But I think like there's an instance where you could have roamed a little bit. And I'd also be thinking about like right now, like 7 minutes is coming up. You want to be, you're definitely going to be walking away in a minute to like go stack this camp and get the Wisdom Rune, right? So it's really just kind of recognizing this stuff ahead of time and like prepping for it. And the other thing is here is like you kind of can't help this Slark too much. There's just not too much you can do to help him. And the reason why is because you have no hard CC. So it's not like Slark pounces your Earthshaker and you have a stun or something like that to like stop the Slark from killing him. You actually have no crowd control at all besides the slow, and that's not really good at, like in a defensive situation like that.
Yeah.
So you kind of just need to recognize that. Okay, we did get the wand, good. Yeah, and if you keep coming back here like that, it's like just you can see it like really doesn't do anything. And there's stuff going on the map right now. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely other stuff you could be doing. You know, if this mid had a bottle, then you could go refill his bottle. You could maybe see like, oh, they've been fighting a lot up here. Maybe I could have like instead of TPing back here like again, you know, like right here in this situation. Like, does Earthshaker need me? Okay, maybe not. Oh, maybe this Veno. Maybe we could kill Veno. You know, you could look at this. Like, this is a really easy thing to do. Like, CM's getting chased. PL looks like he's fine. Earthshaker is pretty much fine. I would, if I were you right here, I'd ping the crap out of this Veno, and I'd TP to either the tier 1 or the tier 2, and I'd run straight for this Veno. And, like, try to save the CM and try to get a return kill. And that's how you can start, like, having more of an impact, especially in these games that are, like, the lanes are really rough. You need to start making moves and, like, moving around and trying to, like, pick people off, right?
Okay.
And if that's, like, totally not possible, like, nobody is killable, then basically you just go make stacks and try and farm.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that was a lot of stuff. I think we'll call it there and try and summarize it, just because I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information, right? So
just like try to see if your lane's needs more defense, and sometimes just to live is better than to try to get kills.
Absolutely, yeah. Because what happens is if you try to force it, so if you're in a lane like this where like you're clearly like supposed to be the defender and you force it, they just kill you. Or they harass you so hard that you lose all your regen and you end up like chronically underleveled. Like I make this mistake too sometimes. I'll pick a hero where I'm like, yeah, let's get aggressive and let's trade a lot, and I just overstep too many times, and I end up like super underleveled because I'm like dying and spending all my time regenning and I'm zoned away. So you really just need to recognize it ahead of time. Like I can't play aggressive in this lane. I have to like take what I can get and play for defense basically. So we didn't even get to the question of Yules versus Force Staff, but I would say Force Staff. It's definitely Force Staff. Force Staff counters Slark pretty hard because you can just jump out of pounce, right? But really, in your lane, we want wand and boots. It's super important that you get like wand and boots here, just to like kite this Slark around, make sure you're survivable. Can we have won our lane or not lost as hard? So I don't think the lane is winnable. Like I don't think there's really anything you can do here where like you end up killing this Slark 3 times and out leveling him. That's just probably not going to happen. And that's because you have an Earthshaker. That makes it super hard to win this lane. He's not a good laner. But the main things are specifically for this lane. We're like don't try to go for kills constantly. So
be like more defensive.
Yep. Don't try to go for kills. Hold your blink for defense. Play defensively. And, you know, harassing is fine, because harassing is like trying to keep them at bay. Because if the Slark is half health all the time, he's not going to want to jump on the Earthshaker, right? So harass is good. It's not that harass is bad. It's like full sending it, trying to commit for the kill. That's where you can slip up, right?
Okay.
And another thing to note is that you can't blink away from the pounce. So you really need to be saving that blink for like, I don't know. I guess the best use case would be like a mid-air Witch Doctor cask. Or like another really good thing you could do with that blink is you could say try to play the side a lot more and try and get the Witch Doctor over here, and then as soon as you see that he's really far away, you can blink over and then start attacking the Slark, right? Or if you see Slarks running towards you, you preemptively blink away from him before he pounces. Yeah. Try to split Witch Doctor from Slark. Aim to pull a lot. This music screwed up. 1 second. Aim to pull a lot. Try to give Earthshaker as much solo XP as possible. That's a lot of the stuff. Kite the Slark around. This would also be one where we want to be trying to go for like a lot of denies as well. Okay. Because it's kind of like as soon as you identify like, okay, we can't really get a lot of kills here, it's like, well, how else can I like hurt them a little bit? And it's basically like denying, right? So it's denying creeps in front of their face if you're able to, or getting lots of pull camps off, so you're just denying the creeps to them. And that's, you can offset it. Like you don't have to directly fight them to like make them lose the lane. You can kind of hurt them in that way too. Kind of the economy, right? Important to look to rotate out of this lane and help other lanes. And it's again because of this Earthshaker. Like really all the Earthshaker wants is he wants solo XP and some last hits. He really, I know this guy started Aftershock, so he probably doesn't know what he's doing on Earthshaker. But if it was a competent Earthshaker, all he really wants from you is like, make sure I can get some last hits so I can get my arcane boots, and then make sure I get some levels, and then that's it. That's all I need. We don't have to go for kills. I'm not expecting to get kills. I'm just looking to like get through the lane phase and get the hell out of here. You know?
Okay.
And yeah, is that making sense? Do you have any questions about any of this so far?
Just like if it's like certain heroes, be more defensive minded. And look to get out of lane if you're losing lane.
Yeah, look to get out of the lane while also getting as much out of it as you can. So you're going to kind of like greed a little bit, like we're going to stay here, you know, as long as we can to get as much as we can, but then we don't want to stay here too long. So this is going to kind of draw on your hero matchup knowledge a lot, which might be really hard. That's a lot of stuff to learn, right? Because there's 100 some odd heroes in Dota, and then every single combination of every hero with every other one is going to make it really tough. But this is why it's really important, like during the draft. So during the draft, try to identify where everyone is going to lane and what that looks like. So in the in-hero pick, be thinking about this. Like when you see the Slark and the Earthshaker get hit, picked, you can probably assume the Slark's going to be safe lane. You know where Earthshaker's going. You'd be like, okay, what does that look like? How good is Earthshaker versus Slark?
Oh, okay.
And just try to think about all of that as much as possible. So I'd even be looking at mid. I'd say like, okay, Clinks versus Slark. What does that look like? Well, neither hero probably needs to go bottle. They're probably just going to trade damage a lot, but I would assume the Clinks is going to lose that lane. And then PLCM versus Undying Veno. I think PL's okay. PL's under like no threat there at all because they have no stuns. So if they slow the crap out of him, he just doppelgangers away. He doesn't care, right? So both safe lanes on both teams are like hyper chilling. Like nobody can kill the Slark, nobody can kill the PL. All right, this is a farming game. What tips the balance? Mid. Like who gets more out of mid and then starts killing everybody? That would be my read on this. Like as much as like is reasonable in the draft, and then like the on top of that, it'd be like paying attention to other lanes, and this would be where you would spot like, oh, my Clinks is getting dumpstered. All right, that means the Skywrath's going to have momentum. I need to be paying attention to what Skywrath is doing.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is really important for supports to be doing this. And I know it's like, I know it's a lot to ask. It's a lot of information to be gathering and stuff like that. And I don't expect you to get it all perfect. Like I'm still working on this stuff as well. This is only something I've started like really, really working on in like the last year or so. But it's made a massive difference. Like doing all this stuff, like jumped me up from like Ancient to Divine. And then before that, thinking about matchups and things like that and where I needed to ward that got me from Legend to Ancient. So like, yeah. So like if you can get this stuff down, it'll be really helpful. And now, of course, there's always going to be these X factors of you have Earthshaker starting with Aftershock, like having no idea how to play the hero, right? But you have to play the averages. You have to assume everybody knows what they're doing, and then think about like what would be best here. Like what's the best thing for me to be doing?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. During chat, try to identify lane, what that looks like. Pay attention to the lanes to form next decisions or things to look out for. Identify what type of lane you're in. So I would say like this question is important, and this is kind of the crux of the issue here, right? So you have to identify whether we're in a kill lane, are we in a farming lane, are we in a kind of holy shit, I'm drowning lane, like how the hell are we going to get through this lane kind of thing. Like it's all different types of like lanes, quote unquote, however you want to think about them. So spotting that up front, and that can inform the way you're going to play. Like I would say like shit, man, you could even start boots in this lane. Just go like boots tangos, just because your whole idea is I'm going to kite the witch doctor around all the time. Now, I don't think you need to do that, but I think like definitely starting like a stick, a sentry, extra tangos. Like I'd buy like, I think maybe like stick, sentry, bango, maybe 2 sets of tangos to help out my Earthshaker, and then I'm like buying my boots as soon as possible. Yeah, that's kind of how I'd be thinking about this. And I'd honestly not even be looking to like cast spells that much because my spells aren't even that good. It's kind of like I'm going to throw a Shadow Strike on Witch Doctor to hit him a lot. And other than that, like I'm not going to waste mana on Scream of Pain because it's low level until it's higher level. So it's like kind of already like portioned out your mana. You know how you're going to be spending that ahead of time, Yeah. You don't need a ton of mana regen in this type of a lane. But yeah. Alrighty. Any other questions about this? Because this is a lot of stuff. So.
No, I think I've got it for this week. Just try to identify if my lanes can be killed or not killed. And then if it's like, if our carries fine top and we can't kill them bot, try to win mid so that they can be the difference.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But that's that's all coming from the information gathering. So that's like really the other thing I want to emphasize is like, be checking the other lanes, like think about it during the draft, try and gather as much information as you can during the draft. And then, when you have these downtimes in the lane, like you're in the middle of a pull or you're walking back to lane, or you're TPing back to lane, or whatever, you're dead or whatever, that's your chance to like click around, gather information, and look at people's levels, look at their items, look at their health and their mana, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for next steps, do you want to continue the homework from last time, or do you want to have the homework be more centered on like this type of stuff? What would be better for you?
I remember last week, so I'll just use that, and then also like a new one.
Okay. Well, I don't want to overload you, have you doing like too much stuff at once, right?
Oh yeah.
So we'll just copy paste it for now. We'll tack on this one. Identify what type of lane you're in.
Yeah.
And actually, would it be? Do you feel like this is an issue for you in general, like identifying these matchups and how the lane is supposed to go?
So like I feel like I'm okay like identifying like who's gonna be normally where, but then I feel like I wasn't identifying like, oh, should I just try to survive,
Sure.
or should I, or like, if that makes sense.
Okay. Let's try something else then, because I feel like that's a really easy thing we can start working on right away.
Okay.
And I think let's just have that be the homework for now.
Okay.
And so for next week, why don't we do this? Why don't we'll look at like a bunch of like we don't even have to watch the replays next week. We'll just like look at a bunch of lane matchups and then see like you give me your thoughts on it, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it, right? So we don't even have to do like a full replay review next time. We'll just like talk about this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think I've had that done for me before, and that was really helpful. Just like really quickly, like looking at a lane for like 5 minutes and be like, I think it's gonna go like this. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I do want you to be thinking about this on your own. Like really, really think about it. Like every game, try and figure out, this is the lane I'm in. How's it gonna go? How's it probably gonna go? And then how does that change how I need to play it?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty good. All right. I think other than that, I think we can call it here. But I think I don't know. There's a lot of information here, but I hope it's helpful.
Yeah, it is. I'll try to start thinking more like like what are the outcomes of like who's like matchups, if that makes sense.
Good. Okay. Good. Yeah. And it's not easy. So if it's hard for you, don't worry about it. I'd also suggest, do you use any like third-party websites to get information, like Dota 2 Pro Tracker or Dota Buff or anything?
I've got like Dota Plus maybe, and that's about it. So like,
You mean like the Overwolf one?
yeah, I had that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I had that too. I stopped using that one. This one here, I will send you the link.
Okay.
Where the hell is it? So Dota 2 Pro Tracker is one a lot of people use. So we'll say I'm not even super good at using this website yet, but this is a really common one. So we could say like, we just type in Slark and be like, all right, what's his normal skill build? What are his items he usually goes for? And then we can look at his matchups, right? So like, we can say, all right, who is Slark super good against? Okay, he's really good against Underlord, DK, Enigma, Alchemist, whatever. Who's he really bad against? Chaos Knight, apparently. Chen, apparently. Right? So this might be helpful. I'll just send you this link here, and then you can click around, like see if it does help you at all.
Okay then. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, Ben. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I hope it's helpful. I'm glad to see you went up with some MMR. That's good. Did you find that the coaching from last week was like helping at all?
Yeah, I tried to like harass more and like yeah, like I tried to harass more, like, and I was like focusing like and just like doing damage to the enemy.
That's good.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that like this game in particular is like maybe like one of the harder ones to do that in this replay, right? But that is good that that was helping out. All right, cool. We'll call it there, man. But thanks for the session. Hope it was helpful. And,
No worries. Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem. I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good one, man. See you later.
Have a good one. I'll see you later.
Cool. If that was helpful, guys, don't forget to check out the playlist at the end of the video. I've got a lot of other Dota 2 coaching videos on there. If you had a question about this game, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. And if you're interested in getting coached by me, you can leave a comment here or message me on Discord or message me on Twitch. I stream every weekday, 2:30 p.m. PST onwards, and I hope to see you there. Have a good one.